The NHL playoffs are the pinnacle of hockey, with teams battling it out in a grueling battle to be crowned champions. While there are plenty of memorable moments and great achievements, there are also some that stand out for all the wrong reasons. These are the moments where teams and players failed when it mattered most, and their failures have become part of NHL history. Let's take a look at the most memorable playoff failures in NHL history. The Tampa Bay Lightning's first-round exit in the 2019 playoffs. The Tampa Bay Lightning was the top-seeded team in the NHL in the 2018-2019 regular season, winning 62 games and amassing 128 points, tied for the most in NHL history. The team was the clear favorite to win the Stanley Cup and had a record-breaking offense led by Nikita Kucherov, who won the Art Ross Trophy for leading the league in scoring. However, in the first round of the playoffs, the Lightning faced off against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who had only qualified for the playoffs by the slimmest of margins. In a stunning upset, the Blue Jackets swept the Lightning in 4 games, making it the first time in NHL history that a team with the best regular season record was swept in the first round of the playoffs. The Lightning's offense, which had been unstoppable during the regular season, was held to just 8 goals in 4 games, and their usually reliable goaltender, Andrei Vasilevsky, had a save percentage of just .856 in the series. The Lightning's first-round exit was a shock to the entire NHL community, and it raised questions about the team's ability to perform in the postseason. Despite their regular season dominance, the Lightning failed to make it past the first round of the playoffs in 2019. The Washington Capitals' Game 7 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes in the 2019 playoffs. The Washington Capitals, the defending Stanley Cup champions, faced off against the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round of the 2019 playoffs. The Capitals had won the Metropolitan Division and were expected to advance to the second round of the playoffs. After 6 hard-fought games, the series was tied at 3 games apiece, and the two teams faced off in a winner-takes-all Game 7. The Capitals had home ice advantage, and their superstar captain, Alex Ovechkin, had scored 3 goals in the previous 2 games. However, in a stunning upset, the Hurricanes beat the Capitals 4-3 in double overtime, advancing to the second round of the playoffs. The loss was particularly devastating for the Capitals, as they had won the Stanley Cup the previous season and were hoping to make a deep playoff run again. The Capitals' Game 7 loss to the Hurricanes highlighted the unpredictability of playoff hockey and the importance of performing well under pressure. Despite their regular season success, the Capitals were unable to advance to the second round of the playoffs in 2019. The Toronto Maple Leafs collapse against the Boston Bruins in the 2013 playoffs. In the first round of the 2013 playoffs, the Toronto Maple Leafs faced off against the Boston Bruins. The Maple Leafs won the first 3 games of the series and seemed poised to advance to the second round. However, the Bruins won the next 3 games to tie the series, and the two teams faced off in a winner-takes-all Game 7. The Maple Leafs had a 4-1 lead in the third period of Game 7, but the Bruins scored 3 goals in less than 10 minutes to tie the game and send it into overtime. In overtime, the Bruins scored the game-winning goal to eliminate the Maple Leafs from the playoffs. The Maple Leafs collapse was one of the biggest in NHL history, and it led to widespread criticism of the team and its coaching staff. The collapse highlighted the importance of maintaining focus and playing hard for a full 60 minutes in playoff hockey. Despite their strong start to the series, the Maple Leafs were unable to advance to the second round of the playoffs in 2013. The Toronto Maple Leafs 2018 first round. In 2018, the Toronto Maple Leafs faced the Boston Bruins in the first round of the playoffs. After winning the first game of the series, the Maple Leafs lost the next 2 games, putting them in a must-win situation for Game 4. Toronto was able to tie the series at 2-2, but in Game 5 they suffered a crushing defeat, losing 4-3 in overtime. In Game 6, the Maple Leafs once again found themselves in a must-win situation. The game went back and forth, but with just over a minute left in regulation, the Leafs were up 4-3 and seemed poised to force a Game 7. However, with the goalie pulled, the Bruins were able to score 2 quick goals to win the game 5-4 and advance to the second round. The loss was particularly devastating for the Maple Leafs and their fans, as it marked the 3rd time in 7 years that the team had lost in the first round after leading the series 3-2. It also marked the 2nd year in a row that the team had lost in the first round of the playoffs. Many fans and analysts blamed the team's lack of experience and defensive weaknesses for the loss. The Maple Leafs had a young and talented team, but they struggled to contain the Bruins' offensive firepower, particularly in the later stages of the series. Despite the disappointment of the loss, the Maple Leafs have continued to build on their talented roster and have made the playoffs in each of the last 3 seasons. The team and its fans hope to use the lessons learned from the 2018 first-round collapse to push for deeper playoff runs in the future. The Tampa Bay Lightning, 2019 first round. In the 2019 NHL playoffs, the Tampa Bay Lightning was the clear favorite to win the Stanley Cup. The Lightning had won 62 games in the regular season, tying the NHL record for the most wins in a single season, and they had earned the President's Trophy for having the best regular season record in the league. However, in the first round of the playoffs, the Columbus Blue Jackets stunned the Lightning by sweeping them in 4 games. The Lightning's loss to the Blue Jackets was a massive upset, as the Blue Jackets had never won a playoff series in their 17-year history and were the 2nd wildcard team in the Eastern Conference. On the other hand, the Lightning were one of the most dominant teams in NHL history and were heavily favored to win the Stanley Cup. However, the Blue Jackets' physicality, speed, and relentless play proved too much for the Lightning to handle. The Lightning's early exit from the playoffs was a massive disappointment for the team and their fans, as the team had been poised for a deep playoff run and a potential championship. The loss also raised questions about the team's ability to perform under pressure and their reliance on individual talent over team play. The Vegas Golden Knights, 2019 first round. The Vegas Golden Knights were established as an expansion team in 2017, and they quickly made a name for themselves in the league by reaching the Stanley Cup Finals in their inaugural season. They followed up that success with another strong regular season in 2018-2019, finishing 3rd in the Western Conference and earning home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs against the San Jose Sharks. After winning the first game of the series, the Golden Knights looked poised to advance to the second round, but the series quickly turned against them. In Game 2, Vegas was leading 3-0 late in the 3rd period when a controversial major penalty was called against Cody Eakin for cross-checking San Jose's Joe Pavelski. The Sharks went on to score 4 power play goals on the major penalty to take a 4-3 lead and ultimately win the game in overtime. The Golden Knights were clearly rattled by the turn of events, and they lost the next 2 games to fall behind in the series 3-1. They fought back to force a Game 7 in San Jose, but their hopes of advancing were dashed once again by a controversial call. With the game tied 3-3 in the 3rd period, Vegas forward Jonathan Marchessault appeared to be tripped on a breakaway, but no penalty was called. The Sharks went on to score the game-winning goal shortly thereafter, and the Golden Knights were left to wonder what might have been. The loss was a bitter disappointment for the Golden Knights and their fans, who had high expectations for the team after their impressive debut season. It was also a reminder that the playoffs can be a cruel and unpredictable beast, with even the best teams vulnerable to unexpected twists of fate. The Golden Knights would go on to make the playoffs again in 2020, but they were unable to recapture the magic of their inaugural season and were eliminated in the conference finals by the Dallas Stars. In the end, the NHL playoffs are one of the most exciting times in all of sports, as teams battle it out for the chance to hoist the Stanley Cup. However, for some teams, the playoffs have been a source of disappointment and heartbreak. The 5 failures listed are just a few of the many playoff disappointments in NHL history, but they serve as a reminder that success in the regular season does not always translate to success in the postseason.